How's it going, guys? This is Ideas of Ice and Fire. Now, when it comes to things like leaked plots for movies and TV shows, I usually tend to stray away from that type of thing. I don't like to be spoiled usually, but sometimes I do slip up and I peek at some stuff like when the old leaked description of a Song of Ice and Fire leaked from like back in the 90s that George R. Martin had like written to a publisher or something. I did a video about that on my channel. And I saw the leaked Game of Thrones plot for season 7 had supposedly leaked. And, I read a paragraph of it and I decided, I've already read a paragraph, why not continue? Game of Thrones is obviously pretty much one of my favorite shows in the entire world. I love it. And, I don't think that reading the plot for this is going to kill it. If this is even the real plot anyways, I'm just going to go through it and just give my commentary on it. Has like little descriptions for every episode. So I'm going to read these. Episode 1. The White Walkers marching south towards the wall. Bran crosses the wall, meets with Ed. Ed is manning Castle Black at this point, if I remember correctly. Okay, so that's all it has for episode 1. Okay, so that's not too implausible. White Walkers marching south. Bran gets to Castle Black. Episode 2. Jon receives a raven from Dany. She is summoning the Lords of Westeros. Jon and Davos decide to go because they need dragon glass from Dragonstone. I guess that's where Dany is now. So we're not doing any traveling. They're like, nope, absolutely not. We're getting right to the punch. Jon leaves Sansa in charge of Winterfell. Okay. Jon leaves Ghost at Winterfell where he stays all season. Okay, so Ghost is staying at Winterfell. Okay, all these things seem kind of plausible. So nothing too crazy yet. Episode 3. Jon and Davos arrive at Dragonstone. Tyrion meets them on a beach, and the Dothraki take their ship. Jon, Davos, Tyrion, Missandei have all been filming together, widely believed on the set of Dragonstone. Okay, even more plausible. It's got the little tidbit about the actors filming together. I'm not dissing it yet. Tyrion brings them to meet Dany, encountering Missandei and Grey Worm on the way. The throne room contains a number of Dothraki. Dany and Jon meet. Dany demands he bend the knee, which he refuses. Evidently, he discusses the White Walkers, but she doesn't believe him. Tyrion insists that Jon isn't crazy. Davos tries to mention Jon's resurrection, but Jon dismisses it. Dany respects Jon immediately. Jon to Dany, maybe not as much, so he doesn't respect Dany as much as she respects him, apparently. Bran arrives at Winterfell. Mira returns home. Okay. So far, this is episode 3. There's nothing in here that the general public wouldn't already know about. So nothing big is in these plot reveals as far as episode 3 goes. Okay, episode 4. Arya arrives at Winterfell. That's all it says. Arya arrives at Winterfell in episode 4. So far, there's been no mention of Melisandre, and they're supposed to meet again.
We will meet again.
Episode 5. Sam leaves Old Town for Winterfell with Gilly and baby Sam. Jorah reunites with Dany at Dragonstone. Is he cured? Is the cure at Dragonstone? Because I pretty clearly remember her telling him to go find a cure and then come back. Not a minute sooner. So he better be freaking cured. Jon receives a raven telling him that Bran and Arya are at Winterfell. This is a pretty boring season so far. Jaime, Bronn, and Tyrion and Davos have a secret meeting at some point where Tyrion tries to persuade them to surrender to Dany, which Jaime ignores. Unclear if this happens before or after Dany ambushes the Lannister army. So Dany ambushes the Lannister army at some point, and there's been no mention of Cersei yet. Gendry's in King's Landing making weapons, and he is found by Davos. He's back in King's Landing? Okay. Look, there was mention that Gendry was probably returning this season before this leaked. So I don't give that any credit for saying Gendry will be in King's Landing. Which seems like... I mean, I'm not mad because that's not what he's doing in the books. I'm just like, he went back to King's Landing? I mean, well, he didn't want to leave. He was just kind of forced out after his master, got spooked by all the people asking questions. But, whatever. I could maybe see him going back to King's Landing. That's not too bad. Okay, so this is already episode 5. So, okay. Party travels to East to watch by the sea. This is episode 6 right here. Party travels to East to watch by the sea. Davos stays behind while the others go white hunting. So they're hunting the White Walkers at this point. Jon leads a small force. Himself, the Hound, Beric, Thoros, Tormund, Jorah, and Gendry to capture a white. Okay. The team is attacked by the Night King's army, including a white polar bear, which is from the books. A white polar bear attacks during the fight of the Fist of the First Men, so that's, I don't know. Are you including bits from the, whoever faked this? You could just be including bits from the book that book readers would recognize to validate this, but I still don't trust it exactly. The bear kills Thoros, apparently a slow death. It has all these quotations, like apparently a slow death. Yeah, I don't know. Like descriptions of how the scene plays out to make it seem more convincing, but you could easily fake that, I guess. They are surrounded on an island on a frozen lake, and they are nearly overcome when Dany and her dragons show up. She flies most of the team back to Eastwatch, but Jon is left behind. She flies them, so we're gonna see multiple people riding on a dragon, apparently. Don't know how that's gonna work. I don't think there's any record of that in any history of non-Targaryens being on dragons. Like, they will reject the shit out of you. Like, I don't think there's any canon to support that something like that can happen, but maybe it's just something that they're doing in the show and it doesn't really relate to canon. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure, and that's assuming that this is real. Okay. But Jon is left behind. Jon is almost killed, but Cold Hands arrives and sends Jon off with his horse while continuing to fight the Horde. Jon watches Benjen swarmed by the undead as he rides half dead to safety. So Jon is riding off half dead on a horse again, like when Ygritte nearly killed him. Okay. I don't know. I guess they got to do away with Benjen some way. And Viserion is killed and raised as the Night King's mount. Okay, this is the part where it gets like, what? Because this is a fan theory, one that's been around for a while, been around for forever, and it's not one that I think is extremely well backed up by any type of actual literary canon in the Song of Ice and Fire books. And it's certainly not backed up in any way by the show. So it strikes me as fishy to see such a popular fan theory just suddenly pop up that this is going to happen in Game of Thrones season 7, right? And the Night's King is riding Viserion. Jon offers to lay down his title as King of the North if Dany and her forces will help against the White Walkers. This scene is private. What does that mean? This scene is private. Sansa sentences Littlefinger to death, which Arya carries out. Well, I did say that Littlefinger was probably gonna die. So Sansa sentences Littlefinger to death for some reason, and Arya is the one that does it. Cersei awakens in a bed soaked with blood. The general consensus is that she miscarries. With whose child? Jaime's? Gotta be Jaime's, right? So weird. Okay. That'd be a weird thing that's kind of a weird thing to just throw in there. Interesting. Sam and Bran figure out Jon's heritage. He's apparently a legitimized Targaryen named Aegon. He's a legitimized Targaryen named Aegon. Okay, that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Okay? That really, legitimately, it makes no sense. And let me give you a reason why. Rhaegar Targaryen had 2 children that we know about 100%, that's been revealed 100% in canon. And those children are Rhaenys and Aegon. So, and those kids are supposedly dead. I mean, there's a little bit extra that's going on in the books involving another character, but that's neither here nor there. Those 2 characters are supposedly dead. If John was born in the Tower of Joy, that means that he was born way, way after Aegon, Rhaegar's other son. So that would mean that Rhaegar named his first son Aegon, and then named his second son also Aegon. I've never seen that anywhere before, and I don't think it's likely that that would happen. So either that's completely made up, or they've got some serious continuity issues in that show. John and Dany have sex for the first time on a boat headed north. Okay, that completely came out of nowhere, but okay. The wall falls at the end of the episode. The Night King attacks the wall with a reanimated Viserion. He now breathes blue flame. Huh. And there's only 7 episodes because that's been the whole rumor that's been good. Well, pretty much confirmed at this point that there's only like 7 episodes in the next season, 7 or 8. But yeah, so John and Dany have sex, and the wall falls. So John and Dany getting together is another like gigantic fan theory. It's a little bit more. It's supported by a little bit more canon, I think, than the reanimated dragon, which I think is just a bunch of malarkey. As far as this leaked plot, yeah, I don't buy most of it. It seems like a bunch of nonsense to me for the most part, and it would be a pretty boring anticlimactic season if this was how it went down for me, just because it has a few too many of those really common fan theories, like the zombie dragon, like Dany and John getting together. And it brings up things that are only really mentioned in the books that people that watch the show only won't even know about, like all the dragon glass that's supposedly at Dragonstone was mentioned here. It seems like something that they just inserted for a book reader. The white polar bear, which is in Storm of Swords, it comes up at the Fist of the First Man. It's inserted in there to catch the eye of people that are more familiar with the source material. And then the name Aegon being the name for John seems like a slip up. Whoever wrote this probably doesn't have the Targaryen lineages down completely, and so they probably heard the name Aegon and thought that it would fit in place for John, but really that's an entirely different character. I honestly feel that for this season to be memorable, they have to not do fan service, like what services to fans. They have to do something that stimulates people on a deeper level and not just the superficial level that they've been doing for a while now. They have to go deeper. They have to reveal more about the nature of the White Walkers. They have to move beyond portraying them as just a big bad guy. It's the big boogeyman, basically. Like George R. R. Martin, I know, has said that more about the nature of the White Walkers will be revealed in The Winds of Winter. We don't exactly know how much, but I expect at this point that we really need to get a move on in developing the White Walkers as actual characters and not just boogeymen. When this series started out, the White Walkers were just a scary story. We are meant to feel like how Bran feels when Old Nan is telling him the stories of the Long Night. It's mysterious. We don't know really what's going on. We're afraid of these guys. These are the bad guys in our minds. But as the story develops and it unfolds, these should be somewhat, at least, sympathetic beings. We should understand why they're doing what they're doing. And normally I don't expect, a fantasy character to be fully explained in that way all the time, but in the show specifically, since they've already made a point to show the history and the origin of the others, then, you have to give them a motivation beyond they're just evil just to be evil, or maybe they are just evil just to be evil in the show, but I don't think they will be in the books. I think the biggest question in all of A Song of Ice and Fire and all of Game of Thrones that I really want answered more than anything is why now? Why are the White Walkers awakening now? Why was Dany able to hatch dragons now, even though Targaryens and various other people have been trying forever and it never works? Why are these warging abilities in the Stark children awakening in such powerful, crazy ways when really that's only been really a thing if you live beyond the wall, and then most people south have never even heard of that. It's like a fairy tale. Why is this happening now? And season 7 is the place where we should be beginning to get to that point. And that's why this little synopsis scares me a little bit, but like I said, even if this is something, it's probably not everything, so I'm not that worried, even if this is real. I mean, it wouldn't be altogether awful if we got a white zombie dragon, but after seeing that for so long and always kind of scoffing at it, I just can't imagine that happening, but it very well could, so we will see, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like for more ideas of Ice and Fire. Make sure you check out my Patreon account and my Twitter account. Peace out, guys.